Huh?
What?
You guys realize we're going to the most packed Royal Rumble we've had in years, and there's a chance Triple H throws a curveball and lets Logan Paul win.
K.T.E. Put it all together, and what do you get? A wrestling podcast unlike any other. Hello. Thank you for joining us, and welcome in to the K.T.E. Wrestling Podcast. I'm joined by the K to my T to the E. Konner, how are you?
Doing great, guys. I am super stoked for this Saturday. It's about time this is showing up. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Elijah.
Guys, time has flown by. I mean, we are already at the Rumble. I mean, it's just yesterday. Raw was on Netflix. Debut. That felt like a little mini PLE event. I mean, we've had Saturday Night Main Event. I mean, here we are. I mean, we are ready. Full swing WrestleMania season after this Saturday.
Full swing, and just as we're getting into the full swing of things, hello, if it's your first time joining us, this is the first time we've had the triple threat of talking heads all together, the K, the T, the E, all together, and this is the first time I know we're all excited to bring some extra content with you guys. We're going to be hoping to do this on big major pay-per-views, and today's episode's going to be all based on the Rumble, and speaking of which, I've got a memory in my head that I can't shake. I don't remember all the details, but it's got something to do with someone getting eliminated early in the 2009 Rumble.
Yeah.
I know you've got. You
I
might know
who
about
that is.
Yeah.
So Santino Marella, 1.9 seconds.
No. What?
1.9 seconds, guys.
Wow.
Thanks to Kane.
Wow. I thought it was after. I thought it was way after the 2 second mark. But
1.9.
the more you learn, you know.
I guess he wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready. Previously Warlord, he held that record for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
But Santino, man, he 1.9 seconds. I mean, but you know what? That doesn't define him. Okay, he was more than just a 1.9 Rumble memory. Okay, see Santino. He, like John Cena, like Orton, he came up through OVW, which is it's a wrestling promotion down there in Louisville, Kentucky, and they have developed hundreds of superstars.
Now I knew Cena, Orton, Batista, Brock were all a part of it. I didn't know Santino was a part of a group.
Santino was actually wrestling right in that time period with all of them guys.
Wow.
Obviously, some of them want to have lots of success, but see Santino. He debuted by winning the IC match, the IC title match versus Umaga. His initial gimmick was he was picked out of the crowd, beat Umaga, and I mean he came in with a bang, guys. I mean it was, he started off pretty strong.
They made you believe that he was just some random schmo, but to know that he actually had OVW training.
Yeah, OVW is an excellent place to go learn and develop as a wrestler. After that, he had a girlfriend, if you want to call it, Maria, and they had a team called Glamella.
I seem to remember this little storyline. Because wasn't he like some sort of jealous boyfriend or something like that?
He did not want anyone seeing the Playboy. He didn't want any of that. I don't know. I can't see. It's, he was... he's a ladies' man, he was smooth talking.
Yeah, that wasn't the only relationship. I know he had Glamorella, which was with Beth Phoenix as well.
Yeah.
Quite a duo there,
Yeah,
I think.
and they had a match at SummerSlam for the women's and the IC title.
Yeah, like winner take all, right?
Back downtown Indianapolis.
Yeah.
It was SummerSlam 2009. They had a pay-per-view downtown.
I think 2008 in Conseco, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's been that long.
Yeah.
Conseco. Oh, yeah. Well, we've gone through 7 different name changes.
Baker's Life, Cambridge.
Yeah. Lots of names here.
SmackDown's going to be there this Friday.
They will.
Yeah, so he was with Maria. What else did he do?
Yeah, so he was with Maria. He also had a tag with Kozlov.
Wow.
As well. They were those belts right there.
The bronze penny ones?
I love double E.
Yes. None other than Kozlov. Now, that lasted not too long. Kozlov kind of vanished / retired in 2011, but he had a little bit of a run with that. Now that was, after that he really was just a backstage. I wouldn't say jobber, but he's kind of like what R-Truth is now. It's for comedic relief. Yeah, it's a little comedy to the show.
Yeah. Shows up from time to time.
From time to time.
Gets a pop from the crowd.
And then he officially kind of left. Now in 2020, though, this is one of my favorite moments of the Rumble is when he entered the women's match.
Wait, you're telling me that wasn't his twin sister? I'm mind blown,
That was Santino eliminating himself when he saw Beth Phoenix with his own move, the Cobra.
Who know that he was fighting for trans rights all the way back
Yeah,
then?
all the way. Right before COVID.
Oh, that's great.
I know Santino. One of my favorite moments of him, a couple of them. One is whenever he addressed John Cena as John Cena.
Listen
Hello,
to
John
John
Cena.
Cena. Or Baptista. Did you do about Baptista?
Baptista.
The other one was in Elimination Chamber 2012, whenever he was the final two against Daniel
so
Bryan.
Close. And then the same at the Royal Rumble. He was so
In
close.
2011, yeah,
He was
against Del Rio.
this close.
So yeah, that's just some kind of things that they could have used Santino for, as those little spark moments.
Filler moments to just make
He
it.
could have had his Kofi Kingston moment way before Kofi Kingston had his WrestleMania
That's
moment.
true, yeah. Santino Mania.
Yeah. Gorilla Mania.
Yeah, now I think he's the GM at TNA right
yes,
now.
he's over
Yep.
at TNA right now, kind of under his old gimmick again, which is fitting. I mean, it fits him if it works.
Oh,
it
he's still
right?
under the Santino
Yeah,
gimmick? He's not doing
kinda-
like his actual real name like most people do?
Well,
I think his name's still Santino.
yeah.
They call him the Director of Authority.
Gotcha. See, again, as I've said, it's been a long time since I watched TNA.
Yeah, we watched the live episode
Yes, it was very
on
good.
Thursday. Hendry versus Cardona. Yeah.
Ooh, I guarantee you that match was fire.
But that's always an unforgettable memory in the Royal Rumble is
Yes.
the 09 1.9 seconds.
1.9.
So, Connor, on the topic of Rumbles, that is what our today's show is going to be. You have any favorite Rumble moments, memories, or experiences?
I think one of my all-time favorite memories, and the reason why is because it happened to Vince McMahon when he walked into the ring, flopped down because he had torn both of his quads. Not that it was funny that it hurt himself. It was funny because for the first time in his entire career, he had people looking down at him. And that was the greatest experience I ever saw. Not really the greatest, but it was one of my favorites. I've had plenty others. I think we just watched before we started Edge coming back. 2010 was pretty good. Obviously, you cannot forget his unforgettable return in 2020 after 9 long years. Never thought we'd see that again. I think we all can agree there were a little bit of tears in our eyes because one of our greatest came back.
Who's cutting onions?
I know, right? The onions are everywhere. So, but I have a lot. There's so much. There's not much time to discuss every single amazing moment we've watched.
I feel like every Rumble in itself has a great moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Each Rumble has left, a mark because then it leads to a WrestleMania moment.
Mhm.
So, I think that's what I love the Royal Rumble is that, this is who's going to be in the main eventing.
Yep.
That's you win it, you get the shot,
Paving the road to WrestleMania,
yes,
if you will. Yeah.
absolutely.
But what would you say some of your favorite moments then? from the
Yeah.
Rumble?
So I really love Kofi. I mean,
Yeah.
Kofi gets very creative for not because if both your feet touch the ground over the ropes, then you're out. But Kofi has found many ways over the years to avoid that, such as jumping onto the outer barrier. He's done that before. He's handstands. I mean, he's
Didn't he use JBL's chair?
He
one
did,
time?
yeah.
oh yes.
That was one of my
Yeah, like a
favorite
pogo
ones.
stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love the Rumble because it really shows endurance. It will test you You know, yeah, I mean it's like a really long Iron Man match. I mean, it can
In
be
a way,
and,
yeah.
You know, people who start first and work their way through it. So I really love how the Rumble it tests the wrestlers. You know, we got to be creative, and for this amount of time, we got to put on a show, and I really like what the Rumble is. The randomness of it. We always got surprise returns. Santino 2020 Edge, probably one of the greatest surprise returns.
Twice even.
Yeah.
He didn't
Yes.
just do it once; he did it twice.
He did it 2 times.
But
Yeah.
it's such a big deal, even if you have a bad Rumble, which I know you and I can speak from experience. We attended a terrible Rumble, and it was still
Yeah.
really fun because, not only was it a Rumble, but we were there live in
Yeah,
person.
it's pretty fire.
Yeah.
It was straight fire.
For those of you who don't know, that was the 2022 Rumble in St. Louis, and he's referencing the match. It's even on WWE's YouTube page. You can go watch it. It's Becky Lynch versus Dewdrop, and the WrestleMania sign lit on fire.
I think I remember seeing
It
something
smelled
about that.
so bad, guys. I mean, if you've ever smelled an electrical fire, then times 10. I mean, it was just the draft in the St. Louis Dome. I mean, it was just a horrible smell.
Yeah, but even a bad Rumble, because you and I said this even directly after the event. You're like, you told me, you looked at me and goes, Tyler, that wasn't really very good.
Unfortunately, not.
And I know a lot of YouTube pundits have called that the worst pay-per-view of 2022. But when you're there, when you're in St. Louis, which is the Edward Dome, is so fun to be there. It's one of our favorite places to be around the Midwest. When you're there, when you're experiencing the chaos of the Rumble, even through all the crap, it's great experiences. And I wouldn't have changed that for the world. I would have loved for you to have been there too. But
I know. We're gonna figure that out. I hear rumors going around that 2027 Indianapolis could be getting the WrestleMania, but there's still rumors. We're still working on that, I guess. But
okay, so yeah, speaking of rumors, you said a hot take to start the show here. Why don't you go a little bit into that and tell us some rumors for the Rumble?
So here's kind of my thought process on why I said what I said. You had Logan Paul come interrupt Gunther and Seth Rollins. He comes out and says, I'm going to be number 30. 9 times out of 10, that means he's going to be number 1. Just hands down. So,
#swerved.
Exactly. So here's how it's going to play out. He's going to be number 1. When number 3 comes out, he's rolling out of the ring, going under the ring, and then he's going to be considered the Iron Man of the Rumble. He won't make it to the Final 4, but he'll be the Iron Man because he wasn't eliminated. So there's my hot take on that. There are a couple little birds going around that we could be getting some TNA stars.
I would love
with
that
this
very much.
with this promotion with their partnership they have going on, it kind of makes sense. So we could finally see some of these TNA stars that have been there for so long, or who haven't gone anywhere else, finally show up to the big stage of the Royal Rumble. Maybe we get a Dolph Ziggler, maybe we get a Moose, maybe we get a Matt Cardona, a.k.a. Zack Ryder. Woo, woo, woo.
You know it.
Now, what entrance music would he come out to?
Ooh.
That's good.
I'd probably do him as Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
But
Always right.
yeah. But so there's my little hot takes at the moment on.
Yeah, we
what's
desperately
going on.
need some TNA in WWE.
I think it'd be cool. I think with this partnership, there's so many things they could do with this.
Yeah.
Now, I did see somebody, I can't remember who tweeted this. Somebody said they should do the Ultimate X match at WrestleMania.
That'd be awesome.
I
Maybe
would
it's a
love that.
pre-show filler.
Right.
They had
No,
Andre.
that's a main
Do you
main
think
card.
that would be-
Absolutely.
That
That
is
is
a
a
main
main
card.
card. You have the highest of flyers in the men's division go after the IC title or the United States title. Probably the United States because Braun Breaker's kind of big, so I don't think he would do that kind of match. But I could see Shinsuke doing something like that. But I don't know. I saw that tweet. I was like, ooh, that'd be a cool match to see.
That's the peak of their partnership because the Ultimate X match is one of TNA's signature events, signature matches.
And they're the only ones that do that kind of match. I don't think anybody's copied that.
No.
At least not to their level.
Yeah.
Either. That's why the X Division title is so unique. But
one of the best ever.
okay, so I'm liking what I'm hearing as far as rumors out of there. I guess we won't waste any more time. We are going to predict the Rumble. We've got 16 categories as far as I'm to recall on my list here. 16 points possible. We are going to address you guys. That way we've got video evidence, as Konner likes to have it, and we've got written evidence of what we've picked. And the winner will get bragging rights.
Also, I want this to be on film. He is not my Mario Party partner.
You're delirious.
That's fair.
That's fair. So we'll start off with some of the general surprises. I know we each have our own idea of what we think might pop the crowd. And I think we're going to go bit by bit, person by person, of what we think might constitute a surprise. So Konner, we'll start with you. What do you think surprises might be in store for us on the show?
I think one of the biggest surprises, I have a feeling there's a certain real American showing up on Saturday, and I'm not looking forward to it. He's going to come out before the Rumble starts. Oh, listen here, brother. I'm going to tell you guys about my beer that probably tastes like piss, and it's just not good.
This guy doesn't even like the Stone Cold beer.
No, not at all. But I think we got Hulk Hogan showing up. Going back to a couple other surprises, we may have some returns. It's hard to say what's going to happen, just because there's so many things going on outside of what's going on right now that we can't figure out who could be showing up. I think we could get Ventura back, Jesse. I think he could come back. That's Jesse Ventura, right?
Yeah.
I think he could be coming back for something. Probably the pre-show.
Okay. I know he's there for the main event.
I know we have a couple heel characters right now with the New Day, but do we get a Big E return? I mean, there's just so much going on that we've talked about. Me and Tyler have talked about this before. There's so much going on in WWE right now. They've got to clean this up. This is a chance to do it this Saturday. Is to clean up this mess that they've kind of made.
Make definitive storylines going into Mania.
And if that's the case, going back to Big E, do we get a triple threat match? Not a triple threat, a 2-on-1 handicap match between Xavier and Kofi versus Big E.
Be a very good match.
That'd be a good setup at this point. The Rumble, he shows up. We'll see. Like I said, I'm ready to be on my couch, sitting there watching on my television. I wish I was there.
And
this guy and I embracing the cold. Yeah,
I wish I was
person.
there.
Yeah, we always work ourselves into a frenzy a little bit because we expect so much out of the Rumble, so many surprises, so many crazy moments that when something so boring or so detrimental happens, we always get so upset.
You know, real quick before we always talk about the surprises. You know how mad I was when a couple years ago there was a certain poster out there and all the people were looking this way and there was lightning all over the poster? Yeah, the first match was the Men's Rumble when Cody came back. Yeah, there was no The Rock coming in because the whole point was The Rock was going to show up. So I was like, oh, my God, I swear there's lightning in the picture. There's lightning in the photo. He's on the poster. He's coming back. He didn't come back, and I was sorely disappointed.
This guy worked himself into a frenzy and said for weeks, The Rock was coming back. The Rock was coming back. He's going to be there, guys. I promise. He's going to be there.
Now I don't hear the end of the lightning stuff.
What do you think? You think The Rock's going to show up this year at all, or do you think he's definitively out of Mania plans?
I don't know. There's always that again going back to rumors. There's always that rumor of with him being the final boss, the 31st entrant kind of thing. You know, we're down to the final two, and all of a sudden lights. If you smell, and The Rock walks in and eliminates both of them. We'll see.
To back you up a little bit, I've listened to a few guys on YouTube say that exact same thing.
Really?
So you're not alone in that thought. Yeah. So that's validation.
I'm finally
for you.
not
Pat
alone.
on the back. Couple of surprises that I think might happen. One, because we've got surprise entrants in the Royal Rumble coming later. I'll detail who I got there. I think somebody like Joe Hendry might show up, and a few TNA people. But as far as just surprises we might see, it's been hinted a little bit, and I do consider this a surprise. But I think Sami Zayn might get involved in the ladder match somehow, because on Monday he kicked Cody in the corner, hell of a kick, and Sami Zayn was staring like, what did I do? And Kevin went up to him and went, like, good job.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. And he was wearing a shirt that said Sami Zayn forever. So I'm thinking somehow, some way, Sami Zayn's going to get involved in the ladder match. I think we've got that surprise in store for us.
I could absolutely see that. The way he's kicked everybody the last 2 weeks, I could absolutely see it.
Yeah, and it's like, I know this is not a Raw recap, but last week he kicked Seth accidentally. This week, same exact position where Drew holds him in the corner and Sammy runs up to kick him. It's like, dude, this happened literally 7 days ago. How stupid are you?
But, rumor mill, he could be going to the opposite side and turning heel. It could be a heel turn for Sammy.
Yeah,
So.
I think that could be a moment Saturday for
Yeah.
Sami Zayn to turn.
What do you think as far as other general surprises? You got anything in store?
I think that Drew will do pretty good in the match. I don't know if it's really a surprise or not, but because he is a really good wrestler. But I think everyone's focused on Cena winning or maybe The Rock or something. But I think Drew is going to surprise people, and I think he'll be at the last 5.
Okay,
I think he will.
like Final Four.
So
Final Four.
would you say that with Drew, Drew surprised? Do you think you're saying that he's gonna surprise us with somebody he eliminates that we don't expect him to eliminate?
That could be.
I could see that.
We'll just say Drew will overperform.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what. Yes.
And it's not like he can't do it before.
Right.
He knocked out Brock in 2020.
Yes.
So
I just feel like the attention is not really. People forget he is really good.
You're not wrong with that though. They've done a lot with Drew the last couple weeks on Raw. So I could see where you're coming from on that point.
Absolutely.
And then we've also got a surprise fourth man that he's whipped our butt in predictions before, so he insisted that he was on this list. But my brother Ryan, he's gone for a softball. He said that Pretty Deadly will intervene in the tag match,
That's
that could
probably
happen.
a given.
which I don't want. I want it to just be a straight match.
I
I
want
want
it to be 2 out of 3.
MCMG. I want to see them shine.
No, that's a perfect segue into the first match we'll predict, which is the Machine Guns Motor City for the TNA Realist versus #DIY. And Konner, I was talking to you about this. I'll tell you, Elijah. I've been tossing and turning about this match all freaking day, choosing who's going to win this match. And the crowd has the Machine Guns, and I'll vet to you guys, but I decided to go DIY on this one. Simply because the Machine Guns character can't just be we're champions. That's pretty much what their character has been since going into WWE, is we're really good wrestlers and we're championship caliber wrestlers. They got psyched out, which is how they lost the tag belts. So I think if you're literally, your character is we're really good wrestlers and we're the best tag team wrestlers in the world, I feel like you have to win this. And if you don't, that either puts them on a spiral, or they got to be a little more aggressive, or somehow involve more character arc in there. I don't know. You guys put me through.
See, this is where I disagree.
Yeah,
I
go
think
for
Motor
it.
City Machine Guns will win this match, and here's why. When they first came in, boom, champion, right? 44-day reign. Then they lost. They got psyched out. And here, what have they been doing the past couple weeks? They have been winning matches, get right back into that number one contender spot, and I think this is where they really show what kind of quality match they can put on. I think this match will surprise people. I think this will actually be a very good match, and I do think Pretty Deadly does. It probably will come in and try and do something dumb. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a really good match, and I think this is where they really will show and prove to everyone that they are champions and they are here to stay. Now, I do see what you're saying. They haven't had much personality. Okay, they really haven't. I mean,
For us who have known them
now
for years,
I know
it's
them
like,
very well. They have plenty of it.
Yeah.
Trust me, guys. They have the potential to do it, but I really think this match will really show and prove they are an amazing tag team. They've been around for a very long time. Both two very good wrestlers. But that's my prediction.
I was also looking at the tag division itself, and a lot of the other teams are babyface. And to me, when you got a babyface challengers, I feel like you got to have a heel champion. So I see what you're saying,
Fair.
and this is why I've been tossing and turning about it all day, is because I could see it going both ways.
Yeah.
I can. Connor, what's your thought? You picked the Machine Guns to win,
So here's my predictions going forward with that tag division over on SmackDown. Machine Guns are gonna win. They're not. It's gonna go down to the third match. Do we know if it's stipulations or if it's just
as far as I know, it's straight wrestling.
straight
all three
wrestling?
falls.
Okay. You have a potential not issue. You have a potential heel turn with Sami Zayn. I know we did this 2 years ago at WrestleMania 39. But we get a heel
Okay.
Kevin Owens and a heel Sami Zayn tag team run against the Machine Guns at WrestleMania.
Interesting.
So
I like
that is
that.
why I disagree with DIY winning. Now, that's why I picked them. I won't be upset if they lose. That's the other problem I have. Yeah, my point. Well, I'll lose a point, whatever. But I won't be upset if they lose because I do like their heel persona right now because you give them that they're the heels right now. You have a tag team, one of the all-time greatest tag teams that could come back and win the tag titles at Mania in Jimmy and Jay. If
Yeah.
Jimmy's healthy. So I could see it playing out both ways. I won't be upset with whoever wins. As much as I would like the Machine Guns to win, I could see it going DIY, but I prefer Machine Guns to win. So that's why I picked. I'm doing it for storyline reasons.
Sure.
Okay.
Going into Mania, because again, we're on the road to Mania, as Elijah said. So we got to have some storylines, and this is the first time that we've had a tag team championship match on a pay-per-view since Mania.
Of last year.
Yep, of
Oh,
last
wow.
year. Yeah, think about that.
Wow.
You think about
See,
that
this is
one.
going to be a good match,
That-
and because of that reason, they haven't had one. And
Exactly.
That feels like it's a wrong statement,
Nope.
but
It's
Nope.
not.
As of WrestleMania 40, we've had no tag team championship matches on, unless it's. I thought I saw something about it, unless it was the SmackDown tag championships, but because we had Cody and. Or no, Cody's been champion since 40. So yeah, we haven't had a tag team championship match since Mania.
okay, so
We'll do some research
I'm thinking about it out loud because you got to remember, R-Truth and The Miz, they never would have defended it on pay-per-view.
No.
And then after that,
They lost
the
to
Viking.
No, they lost to
the
Balor
Judgment
and
Day.
Mc-
They never defended it and
No,
only
they
defended it on
once.
Raw.
Yeah.
So that takes care of the Raw side of it. SmackDown at that point it would have been Waller in theory,
Yep.
and then after that it would have been
The Machine Guns.
no, because the Bloodline. It would have been DIY and then
Yeah.
the Bloodline and then the Machine Guns.
Bloodline never
This
won.
might be a little off topic.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah. Solo or whoever.
Yeah,
and-
but that was all the night
Yeah.
before SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're right
Yeah.
on that.
This might be off topic, but I gotta say this.
Sure.
Grayson Waller. When they had the Miz, that moment on SmackDown, they would have been an awesome
As a trio.
and then they wanted to move them to Raw, and that really made me upset because I feel like their personalities are perfect.
Yeah. Kind of does
But-
like a Miz Taraj too.
I mean, yeah,
In sense, yeah.
it would have been like
Yeah.
Miz Taraj, but I just had to throw my 2 cents in there.
So yes, that is my reasoning behind my tag team. Again, I won't be mad at who wins. I just hope it's a good match in general.
Yeah. Well, see, my other thought here too is because the Machine Guns have beaten almost everyone on the roster in this pseudo tournament. They've only got a few teams left that they can really vie against. So even if they did win, I don't think their title run would be all that long.
If realistically, knowing WWE, they'd make it last till Mania.
Right,
And then give the titles up to somebody else.
Yeah, either have a multi-man match or like
ladder
said,
match.
The Uso.
Yeah.
If they show up, so it feels like a crapshoot, and I'm going with DIY just to throw it out there. But I could see this going either way.
Can we get half points?
Exactly. Yeah, I'd like that. So the next one up we have is Cody versus KO Mania. And this is a ladder match that someone may or may not get involved. But I think we're all in agreement here. And if I didn't say it as well, Ryan picked the Machine Guns. Sorry. But Cody versus KO, I think we're all in agreement here that Cody's retaining. Wouldn't you say that, guys?
Absolutely. Cody is the face of the company right now. I just don't see them. I don't see him losing this match. I think he will continue his hot streak over into WrestleMania, and maybe there we get something. But I think even with, I'm sure someone will get involved with this match. I mean, Cody's on a tear. I mean, he is the face right now, and respectfully so. He does a great job of it. He has, ever since he has came back, he has just been on an absolute tear, and I just don't see it stopping here.
Yeah, they could throw a curveball. I know Konner and I were talking about on the podcast that they could throw a curveball out there and have KO win. There's options there, but
sure.
If you're going to have the big money match, you got to have Cody in there because no matter what option is, no matter who he faces, Cody's always going to be your big star. And I'm sorry, I just don't see Kevin Owens main eventing WrestleMania against anybody, even if it is Sami Zayn. I know you threw that idea out there.
I threw that idea out there because they always seem to want Kevin versus Sami at Mania. It seems like every other year we get those two at Mania in some sort of capacity. COVID year.
Yeah.
Or the year before COVID. Whenever they actually went against each other at Mania. The tag team championships they won at Mania. The reason I'm picking Cody is because, one, as you guys were stating, he is the face of the company. They're not going to let him lose on Saturday. We're going to get a certain RKO out of nowhere after Cody wins, and Randy Orton is going to start his feud with Cody Rhodes going into WrestleMania.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the other thing, too, and I know you and I have talked about this. Cody should not lose the title until Orton gets involved. I firmly believe that. Until they have a storyline with Orton, Cody's championship reign is not over.
So here's an idea. Kevin's going up to the top. Randy's music hits. Kevin's like, oh crap. Randy comes in, RKO's him. Cody's like, okay, cool. Cody goes up there. Randy yanks his leg and RKO's him off the ladder. And then that sets up feud. Randy grabs the title, holds it up, sets up feud for Mania.
Okay.
That's my prediction for that match. But yes, I do think Cody wins.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about WrestleMania plans going forward.
Oh, yeah.
Once we get to the Rumble, we don't want to spoil any.
After the Rumble.
Yeah, well, yeah, after the Rumble,
That
but
will be
also
a
in
show.
our Royal Rumble predictions. But you picked Cody, and you said because he's on the tear, you think that's not stopping, right?
Yeah, no, I mean I just don't see him. I mean, like I said, he literally is. He's the guy. I mean, he's at almost every show, no matter what brand it seems like. I mean, he's everywhere. I mean, there's no way I see him losing this. Now, Randy Orton, like I said, we're gonna have some involvement in this match. It's a ladder match. I mean, come on, guys.
Feels like there's got to be.
There almost has to be. I mean, otherwise it's be a little bit of a flop. But I see Cody.
I wouldn't really consider it a flop
Maybe
because
not flop,
these two have almost killed each other so
Yeah.
many times already.
Yeah.
These two could just go at it for an hour and I'd be fine
Right,
with it.
yeah.
I wouldn't care if anybody interferes. I just want these two to
Yeah.
destroy each other. Announcer table. I want that announcer
maybe
table.
not flop, but it just would add.
Yeah.
I think it would
Having
really
somebody in,
add.
yeah.
Yes,
It would make sense for WWE
Yeah.
to add somebody.
Yeah.
Though.
It would be tough, though, because if they had interference in the tag match and interference in
Yep.
the ladder match, it's kind of like, well, other than the 2 Rumbles, both of your regular matches have interference in them. It just wouldn't feel
Good
right.
point.
But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So those are our first 2 matches. Everyone else except myself is picking the Machine Guns, and everybody is picking Cody in the ladder match. Hey, you know what? You're probably right.
You're probably right because WWE doesn't want to take the titles up. Yeah, why? Because they're in a good
mood.
mode right now.
But we're gonna move on to Rumble predictions themselves. The match itself. Our betting favors for the men is Cena and Punk, but Cena is so far ahead as far as favorites go. He's in the negative in the betting odds. It's so Vegas and the people who are betting, they firmly believe that Cena is going to win the Rumble. But your top 4 is obvious ones: Cena, Punk, Rollins, Reigns. Those are your top 4 bets. And then for the women's, nobody's in the negative. Nobody's such a clear favorite like that. But you do have Flair, Sky, Lynch, and Belair as your top 4. Those are your betting favorites. But on to our predictions as it stands. The first one we are going to do is picking the first 2 entrants. Konner, who's entering 1? Who's entering 2 in both the men's and the women's?
For my men's first 2 entrant, I kind of told you guys earlier, Logan Paul will be number 1, and I have Seth freaking Rollins being number 2,
man.
just
have that
because of
energy.
their issue on Monday. But we'll see. And then for the women's, I have Naomi and a returning Jade Cargill because it's going to turn out that Naomi
Secret attacker.
is the secret attacker. But that's a storyline we'll talk about another time. But
Seems like 1 and 2 always have to have some sort of interaction with each
the
other.
Usos last year.
Exactly.
The brothers, that set up their match at Mania, which was unprofessional. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, those 2, and I know we'll get to Logan Paul maybe a little bit later. Yeah. But for me, same correlation. I think one of my guys who I think needs a big showcase, and one of the ways you could showcase him is having him be first overall. That's Penta. If you really want to make him a big deal in the Rumble, you put him first. I know he's selling gangbusters as far as his merch goes. I think he's the number 1 seller
He is
on shop.com.
on fire right now.
So, first guy overall. And then this has been rumored. I don't know if they'll have a match at Mania. That'd be pretty cool. But you want to set that up here. Have Rey Mysterio be number 2.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like 2 of the greatest luchadors going at it in the world today. 1 and 2. I think that would be a awesome way to start the Rumble for the men's. And then that interaction extends over to the women's, too. I think we're going to get Io Sky as the first pick and have her and Bayley duke it out a little bit, and them 2 can last a little longer in the Rumble. I think for those 2, it'll be a good story to tell in the Rumble match itself. As far as Ryan goes, he's got the first 2 entrants, and this is big for him, but he's also got Logan Paul, and he's got John Cena. He thinks Cena's going to go the distance. Well,
They said he's gonna be one of the top, one or 2. Huh.
yeah, and I know he's got Cena going pretty far in his Rumble, so, but and then he's got Io and Bayley, so he followed suit on me there. What about you, Elijah?
So
First 2.
I'm not trying to copy you guys.
No.
But I really think Io Sky and Bayley will be the first 2 because it really makes sense. Io kind of turning, a little tiff there with Bayley. I think there could be something out of that. I think those 2, it would just make sense. I mean, like we've been talking about. Or, I like what you said about Naomi and Jade. That is a good one as well. As far as the men's goes, it is really hard.
It's a stacked field. So it's
There's so many people. But again, not stealing this from you, Tyler, but I think it's going to be Ray and his son.
Oh.
With the
okay.
third, I'll even say the third being Penta.
Oh, little
I
luchador skirmish.
I think
Okay.
we're really because usually
So
1
Ray
and 2,
at 1, Dom at 2?
I would say Ray at 1, Dom at 2.
Okay.
And I know we're doing thirds, but I think Penta comes in there shortly after. I think they really want to kind of show.
Well, they've
Penta.
been doing the whole Dom and Chad Gable thing lately. Is like, so it would make sense. Your guys' predictions aren't bad. Like, it would make
Yeah.
sense for that to happen because
He's training at the Dark Arts Academy with a certain certain black guy.
yeah.
Not that he is black, but his last name is black, maybe.
Well, there's a surprise.
You're not the
possible.
only one who can have rumors.
Oh,
His contract is actually not up until after the Rumble.
Well,
that don't matter.
Wait, you think they could buy out Aleister Black's contract?
It's WWE.
They can do
can
whatever
buy
they
any-
want.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Triple
that's
H wants
true.
him. He's gonna get him. So, I could. I didn't hear that rumor. The more you know.
So Ray and Dom, Io and Bailey. That's pretty good. I like our thought process on it. All people who have got to be related in some way.
Right.
With Ryan, he's got Cena and Paul. Those two guys are megastars in entertainment and media. So there's not a whole bunch of relationship with them together, but they are related in some capacity, I guess.
yeah.
But from the first two entrants, we have the number 30 spot. The entrant who has won the most overall, 5 wins total, is the number 30 spot. So this is a big deal. Potentially whoever gets in this 30 spot might win the Rumble. So Konner, we'll start with you. Who you think is entering last in both the men's and women's?
For the men, I have Cena, and that's just a given. He's the greatest. No, he's the greatest of all time. He's earned it, and whether people agree with that or not, he has done more for the WWE in his time there than a lot of people. And that's not dogging all the WWE superstars, but he's earned that right to be the last one. And I had to pick Charlotte because she's coming off a serious knee injury. And they're not going to put her in something that she comes in at 15 and potentially hurt herself again when she's got this new gimmick we're about to see. So I'm picking her at my 30 because of her health reasons.
Okay.
And that's why that's my reasoning for picking her at 30.
Yeah. Okay. That makes reasonable sense. Not gonna lie. Elijah?
Yeah.
Some of your 30s.
For the women's, I think, kind of going off what Connor's saying, I think Jade coming off injury. I know we're not doing the last two, but I think it would be Jade and Charlotte. I think going at it at the end.
Okay.
Two people that are coming back, and I would love to see Jade and Charlotte at the end for the women's. As far as the men's goes, I think it will be Seth Rollins. He is very good at the Rumble. He has had, he's been fun to watch over the years. I really think him and Cena will come down to the end. Ultimately, I believe Cena's going to win it. He is. This is his farewell tour. I don't see how he would not. I mean, I know Vegas has him in the negatives, which, you don't always want to bet that. But if I was a betting man, I really believe Cena, they're going to have him at WrestleMania. And so why not have him win the Rumble? Right. What better way of ushering that in?
So Jade Cargill and Seth Rollins is your 30th entrant.
There's another reason. He's already mentioned for Elimination Chamber. So this is possibly a reason why he doesn't win, just because he could be in the Elimination Chamber match himself. But who knows? This is gonna
Yeah.
be this is a thrown together Rumble, as me and Ty have talked about this.
Yes.
Saturday Night Main Event was unneeded. I think they just needed to throw something together. We're getting now into the we're cleaning everything up portion, and the women's match is like we don't know all the women that are going to be in
We
there,
don't.
so it's going to be one of those. It's like we have some returning stars. We may have some surprises, but I think overall it's like I think with them jumbling everything together, even though it's a cram show, this could be one of the best Rumbles we've had in years.
Absolutely.
We've got two good singles match, like two individual matches alone, and then we've got the Rumble. It's a 4-match pay-per-view, but you got the Rumbles that are going to take a while. You got the ladder match that's going to take probably 45 minutes. You got the tag match that's going to take a while. So I'm excited I'm super excited.
That's why he's not cramming the show, because normally he just has simple 5 matches, but you cut off that 5 because the Rumbles are an hour, 2 hours, and then you can have an hour and a half for those last 2. So 30 minutes for the machine guns.
So
and
real quick
45 for the ladder.
before we move on, what do we think the order of the matches are going to be?
Before we get to that, I wanted to say my number 30 because I haven't
Yes.
I haven't told
Oh, my
everyone.
fault. I thought
My
you did.
bad.
No,
my
no,
bad.
not yet.
My bad.
Not
I
yet.
cut him off, guys. I'm
Cut him
sorry.
off over here.
So my for the woman, I'm going Nia Jax. I think Charlotte does make a lot of sense as the last one. Jade's not a bad shout because 30 is usually reserved for the biggest of stars and sometimes the surprise entrant in that. But I think right now the biggest boss, if you will, in WWE currently is Nia Jax, and I think I can just envision in my mind that whoever wins the Rumble eliminates her last, and it would make sense for her to be
Final boss.
the final boss, if you will, of the Rumble. And so entering last, she's the freshest. Michael's like, how can anyone get Nia Jax over the top rope? And then the winner, whoever they may be, gets her over, and because she gets so much heel heat right now on Raw.
Absolutely.
And I think her entering in last, fans would be kind of disappointed, like, oh, she's the last person, and then whoever wins the Rumble can toss her over and get a better crowd reaction for it. So that's kind of how I'm seeing that.
Sure.
And then for the men's, Ryan and I have the same guy. He's got Liv Morgan entering in last, which I guess similar heel heat thought process, but we talk about surprise entrance.
Rub.
Dun, 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 dun. Brock Lesnar. I'm thinking he's going to enter in 30th spot. That surprise entrance. Everyone goes, oh, no, he's here? And then whoever wins the Rumble can either toss him over, or you can have a moment where everyone gangs up on him, or Drew claymores him, or you just can have a way where that person sets up a WrestleMania match with him. Plus, I think that's a big surprise, having Brock back.
That would be
absolutely.
a huge surprise. I would be.
But Ryan and I got that.
Huh.
So,
I wasn't thinking anything like that. Okay.
but you're talking order of matches, and this is not one of our predictions, but I'm thinking Women's Rumble,
Okay.
Machine Guns, ladder match, Men's Rumble.
You're putting the men's Rumble in front of the ladder match?
No.
No, he said.
Or you're putting the ladder match before the men's Rumble?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think the Men's Rumble's the main event, man.
You cannot
you can't have a stacked card coming from the guy
Hey.
who's always like, Money in the Bank
No,
should be
well,
the last match on the card.
It should be, because that's the name of this Money in the Bank.
And
That's the
this
name
is
That's
of
the name of the
name
pay-per-view,
of this
Royal
pay-per-view.
Rumble. But-
Literally
You
the Royal
two-time
Rumble.
But
backstab.
You gotta listen for just a second.
I'm listening.
You have a big match that's gone on, like you know what? You're probably right, but I think it should go the men's tag, women's Rumble. Then you got to put the men's ladder match in there, then the Rumble. So I'm not disagreeing with that order, but I'm putting it a little different. But I could see it being, because WWE likes to do this, I could see it being Cody and KO on at the end.
Okay.
But I'm putting the Machine Guns first, women's Rumble, ladder match, men's Rumble.
Okay.
See, I agree with Konner.
Really?
I mean, it just makes, I don't know.
Kind of.
To me, it just makes sense because you're breaking up that, you know.
I mean, not that I don't see that, because what made NXT so successful is they started off with a tag team match almost every takeover simply because that's the most frantic and frenzy, and you got two of the best tag teams of the last couple decades in there. Yeah, it would make a hot show, but you don't want to get into a spot where you want the Rumbles too close to each other. You want them to be spaced out, and when there's only 4 matches on the card...
Yeah.
There's only so many ways you can do that.
Yeah, I just think it's smarter to have one Rumble first, one Rumble to close
That's
out
fair.
the show. But I didn't even think about it like that. But
No.
yeah, that could potentially be something that happens. Open up with a really hot tag match. There's not a bad match on the card. When you've
No.
only got 4 matches, there's not room for anything to be bad.
No. This is gonna
No,
be like we said earlier. This is gonna be one of the most. This is probably gonna be one of the best Rumble pay-per-views we've had in a long time.
I'm hoping so. Yeah,
I hope so.
For sure. Lots to clean up.
I know we built up our expectations, but it just looks like this pay-per-view is going to be nothing but high quality. So, moving back to the Rumble predictions itself, we have surprise entrance. I know I can see a theme with some of our predictions.
I can see it too.
Yeah, Konner, we're just doing one surprise entrance. So for the men's or the women's Rumble, what's a surprise entry you can see making their way?
You know, this guy should never have left WWE, in my opinion. He was one of the hottest stars when he had the feud with The Miz. But I think my surprise entrant, I'm going to even pick his number. He's going to be number 17. We're going to get Dolph Ziggler at 17. But he's going to come in as Nick Nemeth.
Okay. That was my question is, what does he come in as?
You think he uses his
TNA
theme song?
I think he uses his whole TNA spiel.
Okay.
I don't, unless he uses the WWE theme song and goes by Nick, but I don't know. But 17, Dolph Ziggler.
Why 17?
I just feel like that's a good spot to throw a surprise in there. It's the middle
Mid.
of the Rumble. Everybody's beating the crap out of each other, and all of a sudden, pop. Why was Edge 20 in 2020? So there's another question that later down the line, but I think 17, we're getting a Dolph Ziggler return for one night.
I know he said in some interviews that he's got no desire to come back, but that could also be just press related, where he'll say these things to make it even more of a surprise.
Cody, CM Punk. That's all I got to say on that aspect of it.
It was a couple of years ago when he said that. So
Yeah.
he has been at TNA for a little bit.
No, he said this literally like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, did he say it a
as
couple
soon
weeks
as
ago?
Yeah, as soon as Genesis happened, because NXT and TNA are working together. So that's when he said it. I don't know if I see that happening, but I would be interested in that happening. I know some people have an aversion to Dolph Ziggler and think that he's just run his course in WWE, which is fine. But I think WWE didn't put as much stock as they probably could have in that, and that shows his TNA run.
Yeah, it's been incredible,
Yeah.
especially towards the end of his career in WWE.
He was a nobody,
It
which
was
is a shame
ridiculous,
because
yeah.
he's somebody that still could have put on a banger match, to
Him
use
and-
Sheamus's term.
Yep.
Yeah.
But from one former TNA champ to another, your newest WWE signee, the Juggernaut, Jordan Grace, is going to make an appearance in the Royal Rumble.
Wow.
Okay.
And not only that, I know we're only doing most elimination overalls. You did specifically number. I'm not going to choose their number, but I am going to say she will have the most eliminations in the Women's Rumble.
Wow, you're pulling the elimination card on
Yeah.
us. Okay.
Okay.
I think Jordan Grace will show up. She will have the most eliminations in the Rumble for the women's. Now, I don't think that she'll have the most overall. We're going to get to that. But I think that she will go in, flex her stuff, and have the
Okay.
most eliminations in a Rumble. Make a big splash on her debut, despite the fact that she's not going to win the Rumble. She'll make a huge impact, be a surprise, and have the most eliminations in the women's.
Huh. I could see that.
She's just special talent. Just don't go on her Twitter account. So Elijah, surprise entrance.
Well, ding, ding, ding. We got JBL. Now, I don't know if you guys have realized or not, but that man is in great shape still. I mean, I don't know how old he is, but we saw him on Raw the other night. I mean, he is in excellent shape.
Was that TNA Genesis clotheslining people?
He has been on a clothesline tear. Okay, he has been on TNA. He has been on all the independent circuits here recently. He clotheslined James Ellsworth.
But no chin.
No chin. Yeah.
Any man with two hands has a fighting chance.
No chin music.
I can see JBL coming in at 10. I see it coming early. I don't think he's really going to do too much. I think he will clothesline a couple people. But, that's my prediction. He's been hanging around the leagues, and I think he might get a little shot.
It's interesting because when he was on Raw, I think last week, Wade Barrett kind of went over to him and said, "I know for a fact he's got one clothesline from hell left in him, so maybe we might see JBL and Wade interact in the Rumble." I don't know. Could be a possibility. Speaking of announcers who might make appearances, Ryan's got one of the surprise entrants being Pat McAfee, which I don't know how well I agree with that because he just showed up a couple years ago.
Didn't he jump over the rope last year?
I'm not sure if it was last year or it was 23.
He rolled in and was like, "Oh, hey, look, I'm in it." And he's like, "Nope." Hop right out. It's like, okay. But I could see it.
Being here in Indianapolis, I could see Pat jumping from the commentary booth, which I'm sure he'll be at.
I didn't think of that either. Obviously, we're downtown Indianapolis.
He's going to be involved in some way. It's Pat, and it's Indianapolis, and it's
I feel
the
like
stadium he played in.
That's not a bad shout as him entering the Rumble.
I don't know if it's a surprise, though. But
it would be a surprise.
It would be a surprise, but
I think the best usage for him would be to do like he did at Fastlane, which is Indiana's gonna have a WrestleMania. Have that kind of announcement. Pump the crowd.
Like before the men's Rumble. He's in there. He's like, yo, listen up. 2027.
Or announce the attendance record.
Right.
You know how WWE is about their records. It's like, Indianapolis just yeeted their way to a record.
90,000. They'll hype up the number, like WrestleMania.
Be like, it's 68,000, the most Lucas Oil has ever done. That kind of thing. I think
the Colts suck.
I think that's you said it. But I think that's a better use of Pat, really, than being in the Rumble.
I could see that.
Especially when you have a Rumble that's stacked like that.
There's no room for him.
Yeah,
Almost.
especially if you're going to have potential like JBL in there. Yeah. I think you can't waste too many spots when you've got a Rumble that has so many stars in it. Like 2017, as disappointing as that one ended up, you had so many stars in that Rumble, and there was never a comedy spot particularly. You had wrestlers that were on the roster who were relatively jobber levels, but you still had people like Goldberg, Undertaker, Lesnar in there. And so you had to have most people who were in the match be believable. And I think this is another one of those cases here in 24. So, Iron Man and women prediction. I'm curious to see that between our number 1 and number 2 picks, if any of them, because I'll have you know, we'll have a by the numbers stats out for you guys before the weekend. But 60% of the time, the Iron Man and woman has been from the number 1 or number 2 spot. Out of all the Rumbles, 60% of the time, it's been either 1 or 2.
Wow.
And I think only 2 times has it been over 10.
Okay.
So for those of you who aren't familiar, the Iron Man, Iron Woman is the person who lasts the longest in the entire Rumble, time-wise. So the way that we're going to predict it is giving their name, and on the night of the event, whenever our wrestler comes in, hit the timer and see how long they last. And whoever's superstar lasts the longest will be the winner in that category. That's the way that I see it.
All right.
So we'll start with you, Konner. Men's and women's Iron Man.
My Iron Man for the men is Logan Paul. Because if he comes in at number 1, he'll do a little back and forth with Seth. I don't know who will come in at 3. While those two are going at it, you'll have Logan duck out of the ring,
Yeah.
and he'll just be outside chilling, drinking his prime, and hanging out with KSI and Speed or whoever else is there.
So you're really taking that hot take to
I'm
heart.
definitely taking that hot take to heart, but he'll last 45 minutes. He won't stay outside the entire time, but he'll spend about good portion outside, and then he'll get eliminated about 45, 46 minutes.
Who do you think eliminates him?
If the rumors are true and they're gonna set it up, I think Ludwig Kaiser could eliminate him because there's a rumor
Him and Gunther.
for the world title.
Oh,
I know.
I think I had that same reaction when you said that on the podcast.
I know. So
German.
So that's why I'm saying Ludwig Kaiser, because then Logan come out on Monday and be like, hey, Gunther, you sent your crony after me. You can't defeat me, kind of thing. Or they go at it against each other, Elimination Chamber. But
He's fighting his brother in March on Max.
really?
I hate that I just gave him free promotion, but
Ew.
yeah, he's
I
gonna do
didn't
that.
know that was a real
and-
thing.
Yeah, I think it is.
Ugh.
He's doing that, and he might do the world heavyweight title match.
Dude, he's been given championship after championship match
Yeah.
every.
He's like, I'm gonna be a full-time WWE superstar. Meanwhile,
I'm gonna go box on March whatever.
yeah.
But for my women's, I have Io Sky, and I think, I think she's gonna last. I think she's gonna be in around the 5 mark. She'll be in at 5, and then I didn't put that in there. I said she's gonna come.
I
in.
was looking at your first two entrants.
Oh.
I was making sure because I know all three of us picked Io Sky. I couldn't remember
no,
if
it
you
was.
did or not. You did name
But she'll come in around
Cardi.
the number 5 spot, and then she'll last probably about. I'm gonna give her 59 minutes and 45 seconds. I'm giving her an exact time.
My.
Do I need to write that down?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna write it down.
I'll probably change it.
When we get done, I'm gonna write it down.
Okay.
Okay. All right. 59:45.
Yep.
I'm gonna say that into the camera that way.
59 minutes and 45 seconds.
He's doubling down. Okay.
So but those are my
Yeah, that's a
Iron
good
Man
pick.
and Iron Women.
So Ryan and I agree with you as far as the Iron Woman prediction. We think Io Sky is going to do it, and I've got Io Sky as my number 1. I think she's got a good shot to be in there the longest. Whether she wins or not remains to be seen, but I think she's got a solid chance in order to be the longest person in there because they have made her out to be a big deal. And I know she's one of the betting favorites to win the Rumble
Yes.
this year, so it makes sense that she would have a big performance nonetheless. But the guy who I think is one of my number 2, I figured, okay, if I'm going to pick a number 1 or 2 guy, they are probably going to go Iron Man. And I think if you want to showcase this guy as the next big thing, you got to show why. And that's the guy who's got Cero Miedo. I think Penta is going to be the Iron Man for the Rumble.
Okay.
I don't know how long he'll last. I don't have an exact time like you do, but I think he'll be. If you want to mimic him being kind of like Rey Mysterio lasted over an hour in 2006. I think you need Penta to at least last 45, 50 minutes in the match.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. I have not watched much of his highlights. So if you want to build somebody up who's not watched as much as him,
Give
this
him a
is
good
the
performance.
perfect opportunity for him to be the main man that he was brought in to be. But they also rumored him to go after Braun Breaker on Monday, so we'll see. We'll see
Okay.
on that.
See,
So,
I think getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I think they might stretch Sheamus and Breaker out to Mania. I think they will because it's a good feel-good story that Sheamus wins the title that he's never won. So, but Ryan, I don't know how true this will be, but Ryan's got Cena as the Iron Man in this. So,
I just don't see Cena being in that early.
to be fair, though, if you're gonna get the most out of Cena,
This is it.
that's how you do it.
I guess that's fair.
So I
That's
see
his reasoning,
logic,
but
and I like it. Now I'm going with. I kind of hinted at this earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and change who I think will have the most eliminations overall. But I think Drew is going to surprise people.
Okay, so
I think McIntyre will be in there the longest,
okay.
and I think he's going to have the most eliminations. Well, he's in there the longest. Typically, you would have a lot of more eliminations than other people. And I'm going a little bit of a different approach with the women's. This is kind of hard to predict, but I really think that Bianca Belair will have I think she will be in there a lot longer. She is kind of my dark horse over the women's match. I know she currently is a champion. I don't think she's going to win it, but I mean, she really is.
Women's tag title,
mean,
the most valuable championship in WWE.
Yeah, I mean, she. Right.
Snooze fest. Guess who doesn't watch it on Raw or
Yeah,
SmackDown when
you.
they're on?
Hey,
I
to
know.
your credit though, they are fighting on NXT
Woohoo.
this week. Yeah, so
Hopefully they stay in NXT.
I think she surprises people.
Bianca is your Iron Woman prediction.
Yeah.
Then. Okay, so Drew and Bianca. This guy's doubling down on McIntyre.
I am.
Not about Shout though, because
Oh, I know.
he's one of the
Hey.
the top stars.
These are hard. Hey, the Royal was so hard to predict. I mean, it just is. So I'm just going different. I
Yeah.
figure, and I see what you guys are talking about. I think it'd be awesome to see Penta in there the longest because he came in and has surprised people how popular and it's just been an instant hit. And what better way of showing that he can continue this than have him be in there the longest? I mean, I totally see that.
Yeah. So from longest time overall to shortest overall. Now for this one, I didn't go for both women's and men's like eliminations. I went overall because for Iron Man we did both men's and women's, but for this one it's shortest time overall, not just men's, but men's and women, and it's going to be the same way for eliminations.
Okay.
It's overall. So
right.
Konner, shortest time in both Rumbles. Who do you think it's going to be?
Shortest time for the men is going to be Grayson Waller. And I have a feeling it's going to be him because he's too all about himself and promoting his Waller effect. So he will have the shortest time in the Rumble for the men. For the women, that's tough.
You don't have to. It's just overall.
Right, overall
It's
time.
just overall.
That's still a tough thing though because nope, Chelsea Green. As much as she's hot right now, Chelsea
She's on
Green.
fire right now.
That's fair, but
They have no use for her.
exactly.
In the Rumble.
States
She is, but
Okay, yeah, but that doesn't mean you win the Royal Rumble.
well,
No, that's
no,
not what
but
we're
she could be in there
saying.
longer. I think personally, she's gonna keep that gimmick of getting eliminated quick. She was eliminated first a couple years ago. I think she'll be. She's not gonna be like a 5 second. She's gonna be in there for a minute.
Fair.
She's just gonna be the shortest one.
So
give
you
her
know-
about 10
Yeah,
minutes.
so
And
no
you-
1.9 seconds.
No,
Right,
it's not gonna be a Santino moment, but
Right.
I give her roughly the 10-ish minute mark. And I know I'm not. Don't quote me on that. Just
I
saying.
think 10 minutes is going to be the shortest time in the Rumble.
That's a long time.
For a woman, yeah.
That is a long time.
Wow. This will be a long match.
Okay, well, then I'm curious. How long do you think your shortest time overall Waller is? How small is he going to be?
2 seconds.
Well, he'll. I'm not gonna say. I don't know exactly where they'll put him, but they'll probably put
For
him.
16 long years, Santino Marella has held the record.
Oh, I think Strowman. The minute Strowman gets in, Strowman eliminates him. So Waller can be in there for 10, 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden. But these are just.
Again, these are hard to predict.
Yeah,
but
it's always hard to
going
predict.
off of what you're saying, I think Strowman. So my pick will be Kit Wilson. Okay, he is an absolute goober, and that tag team is 2 goobers making 1 goob. I mean, it's, and I think Braun will eliminate both of them at the same time. I just see it happening. If I had to put a time on it, I'd put probably under a minute. I mean, these guys are they're bad. Okay, they are.
Can't get over that.
I honestly don't know why we see them every single week. I know why we see them, but they're just not I feel like there's people in NXT that are more deserving of their time. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I think someone's just not comfortable with their sexuality. I think that's what it is.
That is
You tell me you can't look at Pretty Deadly every week and you can't appreciate their beauty.
no.
Are you just admitting it because you don't have hair and they do?
No.
So, with that said,
Moving on.
moving on. No, so I know you're a rumor guy normally, but I've been hearing whispers that because of what happened on Saturday at Saturday night's main event, that Strowman might not show up at the Rumble, which I think would be a huge disappointment.
It would be.
Oh,
it
that
would
would
be a
crush
huge.
me.
It would be a huge loss because Strowman coming back has been one of the best decisions. But it could also he could come back, but it's not going to last long because we still have Fatu and
Tonga.
Tonga. They're going to be in the Rumble.
So you think Strowman might come in, wreck house, and then get eliminated?
Yes, I think Strowman comes in early enough, eliminates
Non-essential people.
8-ish people.
8, okay.
That's just a guesstimate. I'm not trying
Yeah,
to
like clears the ring.
right. He
and then-
clears the
cleans out
ring
some
and
goobers.
and then all of a sudden, Fatu comes out,
yes.
and then there's
and then those
that.
two go out and then yeah. But so yeah, that's gonna be my obviously we're next.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But Kit Wilson, so you think half the goob?
Listen, I will
Goobing
on the
it
air.
up.
I will publicly state this. They can come at me. I'll take all the heat. I can't stand them. I think they're terrible wrestlers.
2 goobs making one.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys say, I think Rumble match typically you get some people in there. You got to have someone come and clean them out. And I think Strowman comes in there or someone big cleans out the goobs.
Okay, so then then who is your women to have the shortest overall time?
Gosh, that is
We're not going to track this. It's just overall, but we are curious. Yeah.
probably Natalia. They're not doing anything with
Yeah.
her. She's been around forever. I don't know. She's kind of just there.
Liv Morgan,
Maybe
I
2
know will
minutes.
guarantee, is her and Natalia are the only 2 women to have entered in every single women's rumble.
Is
they've
that
had.
right?
Yeah.
Huh.
So if Natalia shows up on this one, they will continue the streak. But as of now, Liv Morgan's announced for the Rumble, so she will be the only one guaranteed to have been in every single women's Rumble.
Wow.
So
The more you know, folks.
as far as overall, this one was kind of tough because the Rumble is supposed to be stacked. I don't think we're going to have any egregious time limits. Like no 1.9, no 2 seconds. I think we might have people who are 2 minutes at minimum. I don't think we'll have anybody that will just be tossed over like that. My pick was The Miz. I feel like he's someone who's guaranteed to be in the Rumble. Period. But I think that he's someone who's a big enough name but disposable enough to where you could have him thrown over and it wouldn't be that much of a big deal. And he's involved here and there with storylines on people. Like he's got Wyatt's, he's got Cross, he could even intermingle with Zayn potentially.
Yeah.
He's got people all over the place who would want to eliminate him. And I think he's somebody who can take that abuse and still bounce back.
Right.
Because you give The Miz a microphone, and he's just as credible as anybody else.
Yes. I will agree with that.
Promo
100%.
shooter if you want to learn how to
Yeah,
do
so
promos, it's from the Miz.
you can get him. He can suffer the worst thing imaginable and come on, does Miz TV, stirs the pot, and it's like nothing ever happened. And I know Ryan, he's got this person as his second entrant, and that's Dom, but he's also got him being the shortest time overall. So
Hope so.
we'll see, because you may show up with Penta and Ray, and they just decide to toss his
Butt
dingly
over.
butt out.
So then,
yeah.
who's your woman?
So for
shortest?
women's shortest time overall, Chelsea's not a terrible shout.
Yeah.
However, I think there's somebody who is involved in that storyline who makes a lot more sense, and that's BFAB. I know they are trying to make her somebody who can hang with the mid card, but she's still not as experienced of a wrestler, and it shows in their tag team matches. And I'm not dogging on her. I really want
She's
her.
gotten a lot better.
She has.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of her matches. More moving away from the managerial duties to a wrestler because of Prophet's having some injury issues right now. But
And that transition's tough for anybody.
it is. It is.
But I think there's a good chance that she becomes one of that person because, I don't know, maybe Chelsea Green and Piper Niven tag up on her and throw her out as soon as possible, and then that gives Michin a reason to be angry, which we're recording this before Friday SmackDown. They're supposed to have a third match between those two for the U.S. title. Yeah, I know, right?
Connor's favorite.
But yeah, I'm thinking B-Fab. I think there's a good shot that she's in there for the shortest amount of time.
I can
That's
agree
fair.
with that.
That's fair.
So next we move from shortest time overall to most eliminations overall. We're talking both men's and women's. Connor, who you got taking care of this?
So with that rumor mill of Strowman not popping up, I don't know if I want to keep Strowman in as my pick because man, he dogs everybody in the Rumble. But now that obviously after what happened, it's just I'm gonna have to switch it up. I'm gonna go Drew. I'm gonna go on the Drew train on this one.
Okay, so you're not taking the risk of keeping Strowman in as your pick.
No, I'm not taking the risk because points are valuable in this competition here, folks. And it's a point, but I just think Drew comes in and he's already on a tear on Raw, anyways.
Exactly.
You swayed him.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I think Drew will. I mean, he's my pick as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think he's going to be in there the longest time, which therefore
Most eliminations.
genuinely equates
So
to
then-
having the most eliminations.
So my pick for the women's though is gonna be Nia Jax. I think she'll come in,
Not a bad choice.
she'll destroy the field,
The final boss.
and then whoever wins the Rumble beats her. And I
just
just
said that.
exactly. I'm copying you a little bit, but yes, I think she's.
Yeah.
Name me one woman that's gonna lift her.
Well,
Piper Niven. That'd be the only one I can think of. But other than that, it's like Nia is built for this. So I think Nia is the
this is a perfect match for her.
yeah. I don't think Nia pulls the win out. I don't think she's that quality yet for a Rumble, but I think she gets the most eliminations as my pick.
Yeah, one of the very few people to have been a woman and enter the men's Rumble. That I think 4 people have had that distinction.
Yep.
China twice. Beth Phoenix, Karma. Yeah, Awesome Kong.
Awesome Kong.
Yeah.
I
And
knew her
then-
as Awesome Kong. in the
Well,
TNA,
yeah, we
so,
all did. Yeah,
I knew
Gail
it.
But
Kim and
Karma
Awesome Kong.
wasn't really that great.
No,
but-
Kong was better,
Yeah, she
But,
came in, entered the Rumble,
Yep.
cried, got pregnant, and then left.
basically.
Sounds mean, but that was basically her
Yeah,
WWE
that's okay.
run in a
Yeah.
nutshell. Yeah.
You're
But
not wrong.
Her TNA run was incredible.
Oh yeah, Awesome Kong was awesome. But shortest time, we covered that. Most eliminations, you think you're changing to McIntyre. You're keeping McIntyre as your
sure.
choice. Ryan went with the same idea that Cena was going to be in there for the longest time.
He's just
so,
really
riding
riding
the Cena train.
man. He's riding this train.
Cena's going to do
But
all
he
of
went
these
with your
things.
thought process. The guy who's in there for the most time is going to get the most eliminations.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't go for that because I don't think Penta is going to be tossing mofos
No.
over the top rope. I don't think
Yeah.
that. I think he's someone who's going to be very wily, someone who's going to last a long time, maybe skin the cat, as they call it, hold on to the top rope. But he's not somebody who's going to be tossing everybody over. I
Right.
think that distinction goes to my thought of thinking along the lines. It's got to be somebody who's big, bad, and a bruiser. And I'm going for Jacob Fatu. I think he's.
We haven't talked about them much.
I think Fatu, they are really pushing this guy hard. And I go to a promo he had on SmackDown was, y'all thought I was crazy? Man, I ain't even getting started yet. So my thought was, what better way than for the Rumble for him to just like toss out 6-7 guys and be made such a big deal of? That's one way to make him a credible threat. Because you can't just have him show up in the Rumble if he's there. Show up in the Rumble, just be there,
have a stare down with somebody and then leave.
Yeah.
I think if you want him to be a big deal, you got to make him a big deal, and easiest way is most eliminations.
Yep.
But
I agree with that.
It's good.
I think he's more likely to do that than Cena is.
Yeah. Like we said, Cena, this is the perfect time for them to do that with Cena, but I don't think he's not Cena of 2008. He's
No.
Cena of 2025 who hasn't wrestled a decent quality match
For a
in
while. Yeah.
7 years. Rumble 2017 against AJ.
That's probably his last great match.
Yeah,
I
so
would say. Yeah.
we don't get that caliber of Cena again. So the whole I can see where Ryan's coming from because it's the last hurrah for Cena. I just don't think he's gonna pull out that many.
So that's most eliminations overall. I know Konner did his women's prediction, but Nia Jax probably isn't a bad shout. I've got her as my 30 pick, number 30. There's probably enough people in there to where... But if I had to pin down somebody, I think if she returns, I think Jordan Grace returns. If she shows up, I said Jordan Grace. I think Jordan Grace would be that person.
Right.
And
And that's not a bad pick.
You want to make a big star.
Have her eliminate the most amount of people.
Yeah,
Yep.
in,
And
at
be
least
in there the longest.
in the women's rumble.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll be in there the longest. I think she'll have the most eliminations.
Right.
So.
That's fair.
What do you think? Is there any women that would stand out for you as far as elimination goes?
You know, I think it's tough. You know, I think Liv will do better than I think some people will.
What do you
I
think that
think
she'll
she'll
have
be-
more than like Jade Cargill or Nia or
Yeah,
heck,
I
even
think she'll have
Jordan?
more in Jade. Jade supposedly coming off injury. I think if they play that storyline, maybe I think Liv will have a little bit more. Even though I think she'll be towards the later part of the Rumble.
Well,
But
see,
I think there will still be enough people in the match still that she can maybe come up and clean up a little bit.
I think you might be onto something because Liv will have Raquel on her side in the Rumble.
Right, yeah.
And we've seen people before who've had groups or team members in the
Yeah, it
Rumble
works.
who will work together and they will eliminate some people. So
Right.
there's a very good shot that Raquel beats them up and then Liv's just tossing them over the rope. That could be a case.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I could see them working together.
Yeah. And our final category, Rumble winners. The biggest deal. We've all seen the betting odds. We've seen who's on top. But this is where it comes down to it, gents.
Yes.
Where's our Mania card looking like? Who's going to be involved? And who, most importantly, is pointing to the sign? Konner, just the women's.
I'm picking Io Sky.
Okay.
I am picking
Wow.
Io Sky because I think it's time for them to evaluate her into that.
So you think she's going to be number 5? She's going to come in. She's going to make a big deal about being the Iron Woman and win the Rumble.
Yep. I am picking Io Sky as my winner.
Okay. Elijah, just the women's.
Just the women's. Well, I know she's main evented plenty of things in the past, and it almost seems cliche to pick Charlotte, but I think she's going to come back, and she is the star. She is their Cody Rhodes. She could be their Cody Rhodes of the women's. I mean, I think she's coming back full glory, going to Mania.
You know, I have, over the years, I've looked at this person and I've gone, I don't get it. But there was a moment I was watching the 2020 Rumble, and for as much as it didn't really make sense at the time, I looked at it at a moment and I thought, I get it. And I don't know why this happened because it's not a particularly great match, but she did win it. And it made me thought, I get it. And so this year, I'm picking Charlotte as well. Because with this new revived gimmick, and she's been out a long time, I think a lot of people are going to look at her and go, I finally get it. That's what happened with Roman a couple years ago, where his character shifted, and we are all just like, I get it.
Wow.
I get why this guy's great.
Yeah.
And I get why he can be the top star. I think we might have a moment like that with Charlotte where we'll look at her and we'll go, I get it. And I think she will eliminate Nia Jax to win the Rumble.
Final boss.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my thought.
That's a
I
that's
like
a good thought, though. I mean, you're not wrong, though. I mean, like you said, Roman had this character that Vince was shoving down our throat, the big dog, and that kind. And then all of a sudden we get this character of he's the head of the table, and it's like, I like this guy. I like this version. So I might jump on the Charlotte train. I just have to see how she is when she comes back. So I'm not jumping on her winning, but if she comes back and she has this whole new aura, I can jump on the Charlotte train.
I'm loving the video packages that they've been going for her.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And the
It's
stuff
got
that
me
she's been
hyped.
doing on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's just, it makes you feel like she's such a big star.
She's got that charisma, and that is what it takes in WWE.
Mhm.
Besides the athletic ability,
Of course. She's got that.
oh, absolutely.
But just like you've said, even on the podcast, there's some people that WWE has been missing over the last couple of years, and 3 of their biggest stars that they've made in one video package, it made me realize, oh wow, she's a star.
Yeah.
And it didn't take any match,
No.
take
They
any.
just took a video.
It made me realize, wow, that's what we've been missing. So it's very interesting because Ryan's picked Io Sky, so we have Charlotte, and then we have Io Sky, so we are 2 minds about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's either going to be Io or Charlotte in our predictions. So with that said, moving on to the men's Rumble prediction. Konner, who do you have pointing to the sign?
I may get a lot of crap from this, not from just you guys, but from you guys out there. I gotta give it to CM Punk, and the reason why is because he's got the favor.
Yeah.
We don't know what that favor is. So, is it he's gonna come in at 30? Is he gonna come in when there's 2 people left? We don't know what strings he's going to pull, but you have to look at Monday night. Him and Cody going at it Monday night on the mic. I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that psyched me up for a super, super solid idea of those 2 going at it at Mania. Obviously, there's some stuff we have to clean up, yes, that we've talked about. But I think Punk finally gets that main event at WrestleMania and finally fulfills that void he's been missing his whole career, and he gets his shot at Mania.
I think the next greatest story that you can tell with CM Punk is in a WrestleMania main event. And I know that that's been the goal of his entire career, is to get that main event. And WWE could delay this for years, a couple years, if they wanted to really stretch out that story and make it a big deal. But man, there's so much potential in Punk main event. Even before the Netflix debut happened and Rollins was the match, the main event of that, you and I were talking and thinking the main event of WrestleMania Night 1 was going to be Punk Rollins for the world title.
Mm-hmm.
That was my thought. I didn't have an idea who I wanted to win the Rumble or thought was going to win, but I thought that would be a main event of WrestleMania right there. It just shows Punk, say what you will about Cody, he's great. He's on a tear. But you throw Roman, you throw Punk in any segment, there's money to be made and viewers to watch.
Yep.
No matter who it is. Because I know people who have tuned into WWE program simply because CM Punk was on it.
Yeah.
I know people who have tuned into AEW simply because CM Punk was on the show.
I watched when he was on Fox Sports. I saw the video of him coming out. I was like, oh, he's coming back. So I watched Fox Sports the next week, the WWE show they did. He was there. He said, well, no, whatever. When I heard he was going to AEW, I started AEW from the beginning because I knew he was instantly coming out. And dude, the cheers and stuff, hearing CM Punk in Chicago of all places, goosebumps.
Yeah, I know people who cried at that moment.
It's kind of like the people that cried when Ed came back.
out,
So it's the story of CM Punk winning is my reasoning, and I think he could beat Cody. I really, really think he could beat Cody. This is a prediction for later, whenever we get everything clarified. But I think Punk and Cody, like you said, that's a big match. Whether Punk can do it or not physically, he put up a good match against McIntyre in a Hell in a Cell match. So I think we're in for a good.
You throw Punk in any number of the title matches at Mania, or any potential title contenders, whether that be Gunther, whether that be Roman, whether that be Drew, if Drew somehow gets involved, whether that be Cody as the main event. You put Punk in any one of those. Punk versus Cena, if somehow Cena wins the title in some respect. But you put any version of Punk versus those guys, that is a WrestleMania main event worthy match.
I would like to see another Punk Cena match, though.
I feel like it's got to happen.
I would
Within this run,
I would
it's gotta
love
happen.
to see that. They'd have to do it it'd have to make sense story wise, but I think it'd be a good match.
For that reason, I am going to 100% agree with you, and I'm going to pick CM Punk to win the Men's Royal Rumble. Initially, I had CM Punk being number 30 because I thought maybe the favor was going to be Paul would get him in at the number 30 spot. But I thought, no, they're probably going to drag that out till Mania for the favor to be shown at Mania. That feels like a Mania thing.
Yeah.
Or they'll reveal it on the road to Mania. But I 100% agree with you. I think Mania, CM Punk versus insert name here just feels like a main event match.
Yeah.
And I think the best way to do that is to have Punk win the Rumble and can face whoever.
But you know who else can main event WrestleMania?
Who's that?
The one and only John Cena. Now, I have John Cena winning this because, I mean, this is his final year. And I cannot see why he wouldn't win. I think this will lead to a storyline. It has to lead to a storyline. Possibly Punk, Cody, triple threat. Maybe we get them three. That would have to make sense. And I think they could. We have plenty of time to kind of work that in. But I mean, it's John Cena, guys. I mean, he's going to WrestleMania. There's no question without it.
Yeah.
And I feel like, he's determined to make this final year count. And why not start it off with a bang?
Yeah, that's not a bad shout. I think there's a number of guys who have the potential to win this year's Royal Rumble because, and I know we had mentioned that Cena's already advertised for the Elimination Chamber. Whether he goes in there as the Royal Rumble winner just to cut a promo and maybe say, hey, this is who I'm facing at WrestleMania, or just do an announcement, or if that's to be in the chamber itself, there's avenues you could do. If Punk wins, there's avenues you could do. If Cena wins, there's avenues you could do. If Cena loses, there's avenues you could do. But because it would all be about him chasing the gold. But him winning the Royal Rumble is a big moment. It is.
It is.
It's your last time you would have the chance to do that. Also, I mean, he'd tie Stone Cold's record for most wins.
Yep.
Yeah. And then at that point, you could have the Mania match of him versus Cody Rhodes because, let's be honest, he's not facing Gunther.
No.
And that's not a slight on Gunther.
Not at all.
It just doesn't make
It doesn't make sense.
Does not make
Cena's
sense.
last WrestleMania match has to be a match that will knock everyone out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
It just has to.
And doing it versus Cody.
And I don't know if that means that Cena wins the Rumble, but it feels like, and I know you and I have talked about this, but it feels like Cena versus Rhodes feels like a lock for WrestleMania. It just feels like it, but that's not right now. That's not the story I think is called for. It feels like it should be Orton versus Rhodes at WrestleMania.
With where we're at with the Rumble, and we're days away. I think a Cena Owens or a Cena Rhodes or a Cena Gunther match for any title, that's a SummerSlam. And that, in my opinion, is a perfect SummerSlam match. Give John Cena the 17th title, whether it be Gunther. I'd rather it be Gunther because Cody's got more options than Gunther does. Gunther really doesn't have anybody. Okay, yeah, he's got Drew. He's got Rollins. He's got Priest.
Priest is on SmackDown now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
he
we
doesn't have...
didn't do a SmackDown and Raw review this week, but I would have cried all over because Raw's lost Damian Priest now, so life's not worth living anymore.
Okay, so anyways, now but there's not much going on for Gunther on Raw with that title. So if you give or Elimination Chamber, that could be the Elimination Chamber match. You're not gonna have Cena win it, but you have Cena just right there against Gunther, and he comes out the next night on Raw and says, Gunther, I got one more match against you. And there's your championship match for Mania, possibly.
It's him versus Gunther.
Gunther. But we'll just have to see what happens after the Rumble. But
Right.
It feels like if you are going, there's two ways about it, okay? Because Gunther has had so many matches rumored for Mania. He's anywhere from people talking Logan Paul, anywhere from people talking Goldberg, anywhere from people talking potentially Cena. He's had. It just shows how wide open his direction is right now.
if I see a Goldberg WrestleMania again, I'm not watching WrestleMania.
I'm thinking it just Goldberg versus Gunther is going to be at like the Saudi show for the year. That just makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah.
But with that said, I don't know. I just keep clinging to the spot that if Cena's last WrestleMania is going to be against anybody, I feel like it's got to be against one of your top 3 stars, and that's either Rhodes, Roman, or Punk. I feel like it's got to be against one of those 3 guys.
Or all of them.
yeah.
Cena in a gauntlet match at WrestleMania.
Or a triple threat, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because Ryan has, for his Royal Rumble winner on the men's side, Roman. He's got Roman picked as the winner.
I don't know if I like that pick. I like Roman, but I don't know if I like that pick.
For a couple reasons, I don't know if he's going to win, simply because I think he's got too many people gunning for him in the match. I think that he's got people like Drew. He's got people like Punk who are looking after him. He's the big target in the match.
Do you think Drew could eliminate him, and those two can go square off at Mania?
Maybe, but I personally, if I'm throwing it out there, I personally would love to see Punk versus Roman in some capacity. I would.
Yeah.
But just because with the favor being in play and Paul Heyman being a CM Punk manager and the manager, the wise man for the Tribal Chief, I think that's a Mania feud that writes itself. I do. And so if Roman wins, that means that would rely on Punk to win the Chamber for the world title, and they've got options. That's the best thing about this year's Rumble is they have options.
There's so many different ways, guys, this Rumble could go. Okay, and I think that's what makes this Rumble great, and I think it's going to be one of the best ones we've had in past years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The fact that we're talking about so many different possibilities, and we're not even mad about those possibilities.
No.
Like,
Anyone can win this, and I'd be happy.
The thing
anyway.
is, in years past, me and him have had arguments about that. Not arguments, but we've had long talks about this. Like, no, this makes no sense. We're sitting here on a podcast talking about the possibilities of so many pay-per-views coming up this year
And it literally all
because
makes
of
sense.
one pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
And almost anyone they have, any of the big stars winning this, you can make it work. It fit Punk, Roman.
You could
Cena,
even as odd as this week, you
even
could even
Rollins.
as odd as this week, you could throw Orton in there and I'd be fine. I'm like, okay, Orton, what are you?
Even
It
that.
didn't make sense in 2017 for him to win because he was with the Wyatt family.
yeah.
But
where
it makes
we're at
sense for him now
right
because
now.
he's got a target.
Yeah, he's got
And-
Rhodes.
And so it's like, so there's so many avenues, and this is why I'm super, super excited, and I hope you guys are super excited.
Right.
And I would love to see your guys' comments. Put your predictions down in there.
course,
We'll read them, and we'll discuss about them, but we'll comment back with you guys. But
Eventually, if we get enough people who are interacting on the comments and community tab,
Yeah.
I'd love to have a league-wide prediction.
yeah, do a league wide or somehow do a live podcast where it's like
Some fan
we have
interaction.
we have somebody reading comments like,
Do some
oh hey, like,
polls,
yeah. Polls. I would love to see some polls too.
Yeah,
but
see what everyone's got for their own predictions.
maybe
I'd love to
that.
get everyone involved that way.
Yeah.
That way it wouldn't just be us competing. We'd also have everyone else involved as well. There's so many avenues, and I'm so excited for what they've got planned. There's not a wrong answer this year, and that's what's exciting. WWE is on a hot streak right now. They can do almost no wrong. Even a bad show can happen, and it'll still be positive because they're rolling so well. Every one of their superstars who have the potential to win the Rumble this year feel like a main eventer. I know we've talked in the past about some people who were rumored to be a winner for the Royal Rumble who were just doing nothing prior to the Royal Rumble happening.
It's because WWE used to be so predictable. 2017 was probably the last time you couldn't predict the men like the winner to win because Orton just randomly won. It's like,
yeah,
where'd that come from?
It's like in a Rumble with Lesnar and Goldberg and Taker.
But 18, you have Shinsuke is pretty hot. 19, you have Rollins who's hot. 20, you got Drew's who's hot. 21 kind of was a I mean, Edge won because he was number one. He was number one and whatever, so that was kind of predictable. 22 was kind of thrown out there the minute you heard Brock's music. You're like, well, there's your winner.
At that point in time, but before that, there wasn't really anybody who was taking the cake. Not because everyone was so hot at the time, but because there was just
and then obviously,
nobody else had anything going on.
And then obviously you had Cody last year. We knew Cody was going to win. So it's like this year is just one of the most unpredictable Rumbles we've had in such a long time. And I won't be mad at any of these predictions, honestly. Points out the window. I just hope it's a good show. I hope you all have a great time there. I'll be at my home in my warm fuzzy pants and sitting on my couch. But
so before we end today's podcast, just want to get a collection of. I know we've talked a little bit about our final thoughts, but if you had to pinpoint one thing that you were looking forward to this weekend, Elijah, what would you say that is? Because you're going to be there live. You're going to be through the festivities with myself and Ryan. What's one thing you're looking forward to experiencing, or one thing you expect to enjoy?
Well, I cannot wait to be there just live with people, just have similar interests as us in our hometown. I mean, I'm looking for just to have good fellowship with everyone. I mean, this is the Royal Rumble. This is one of the largest, biggest events. Match wise, I am really looking forward to the men's Royal Rumble match. I mean, I feel like we've talked about this whole episode, that is so unpredictable. I feel like it will be hands down the best Rumble match we've had in a long time, and because of the unpredictability of this pay-per-view, I really think that match will just be the highlight of the whole show.
Yep.
And I'm really looking forward to Fellowship. Just being right here. We had to travel to St. Louis last time, and 4-hour and something hour drive, but it will be nice to just be home and to just enjoy you guys fellowshipping with everyone.
Yeah, I know there's people who are coming in from New Zealand.
Oh yeah,
even all across the world.
Yes.
Just Royal Rumble's like WrestleMania. It's a destination pay-per-view to where people can. That's why we had no problem going to St. Louis because it's the Royal Rumble. Crazy things have happened there.
Absolutely.
Vince has tore his quads.
I know.
These people travel quite a distance. In fact, the person that we sat next to was from Oklahoma. They traveled all the way. Those two girls traveled all the way over. Oh,
that's right. Yeah.
To see this, but Indianapolis, we had prepared that the airport is all decked out in wrestlers. the Children's Museum, the dinosaur has a championship belt on. It's
What?
We're
This is the first time hearing of this.
so I'm just excited. Our city
Might have
has
to drive
completely
downtown.
yeah.
embraced WWE, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have some videos for you guys posted on the channel or on Instagram and Twitter about live experiences, how we feel in the moment. Elijah and myself will be able to give that out to you. But I'll toss it to you, Connor. You're going to have looks like a more subdued experience. Is there anything that you are looking forward to? Specifically pinpoint something you want to see? Or
I'm hoping we get just a all around 9 out of 10 pay-per-view, because obviously nothing's a perfect pay-per-view. There will never be a perfect pay-per-view. You always have that one. You always have that one mishap. But I hope we get I hope the men's rumble is as popped as it's supposed to be. Again, stacked, so we should be in for a good treat. I hope you guys stay safe and warm out there. I hope everybody going to the Rumble has safe travels. Enjoy Indianapolis. We do. There's one thing we do right, and it's big events. When we had the Super Bowl back in 2012, that was
Zip line, the
beautiful
village.
weather. It was like the
Yep.
best weather we've had in February ever. But I just hope everybody enjoys it. I hope we get some crazy things that happen. I'm just super, super pumped, and it's about time we start the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah. Indianapolis, there's a reason why they're getting all these events going forward. SummerSlam, Mania, Rumble coming up this Saturday. It's because we are a city that has shown its vibrancy and passion, especially for things like wrestling. Wrestling itself is a passionate fan base, and so you bring a big event like the Rumble, you get to see that in full force. And I think it's something that we'll get a small taste of what Mania might look like. The only difference is they're not going to be bringing the experience, the WWE world. They will for WrestleMania. They've announced that for Las Vegas already. So that'll be sort of like the Super Bowl experience will be Mania, because all week they'll be there from, I think, Monday or Tuesday all the way up until Saturday and Sunday.
Village and stuff at the convention center.
Yeah. So I echo that. I do. I'm glad to be able to experience something like this. I know when they first hit the public, the tickets, I made sure I was badgering this guy. I said, listen, you absolutely need to tell me if you're going to this or not, because I'm getting this the day of. And I made sure I was one of those. So it's been really cool in live form to see the Rumble members announced, the matches announced. You can ask Ryan when the Machine Guns 2 out of 3 Falls match was announced. I was like, yes, we get to see them live.
Yeah.
I was so excited for that to happen. So before we head out, guys, I do want to say thank you for coming in. I enjoy doing this together. I hope we have more times where we can get the whole KTE band together. But I want to leave the viewers with one last prediction. WrestleMania main event. The road to WrestleMania starts here at the Rumble, and it ends at Mania. Night 2, WrestleMania main event. What are you thinking, Connor?
Oh, we're doing this now?
We're doing it now.
Oh, boy.
Night 2 main event.
My winner, CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes. And it's not just going to be a regular match. We're going to need a stipulation added. And I have a good old feeling Mr. CM Punk's going to want to go a little extreme on this and get Cody a little banged up. So we're going to get a good old Extreme Rules match for the WWE title.
I haven't had one of those in a while.
I'm going off their ECW video podcast they just did the other day, and that one's a very good one. You guys should go watch it. ECW. But that is my night 2.
Not a bad shout. I might expect Cena to be involved potentially. Maybe that's a Cena Rhodes match. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm going to say either Cena Rhodes or Punk Roman. I think those are my 2 possibilities. Unfortunately, I don't see anybody main eventing night 2 on the women's side. I think the only one who's got that possibility would be Becky versus Rhea, if it were to happen.
Yeah.
But I think that would be reserved for a night 1 spot. Elijah, night 2, main event of main events.
Cena, Punk, Rhodes.
Okay,
I
and
mean,
a triple
come on,
threat.
guys. That would just be awesome. Now, again, a lot would have to happen for that
Yeah.
to happen.
But
That
that's
story-
that's
but
one
they
of
could
the
develop them.
that's the exciting part about the road to WrestleMania. We have
Yeah.
so much time to build
To
this
fill
up.
in these
Yes.
things. But I just
So-
think it would be awesome. Punk Cena, that was a great rivalry they had.
Mm-hmm.
You add Cody in there. What do you get? I mean, that would just be an epic match.
And WrestleMania triple threat matches are always great, no exceptions.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right. And to have one as a main event would just be
Add icing to the cake.
extra special.
Yeah, especially main event. Main event triple threat matches at WrestleMania are great, no exception. Bryan, Edge, Roman, Benoit, Benoit, Triple H, Michaels.
Bryan, Orton,
Batista.
Batista. So, but if you've noticed, there's a pattern. Every 10 years, there's
The
always a
babyface.
triple threat.
Oh well, that's
There's always a triple threat main event. So WrestleMania 50, we're gonna need a triple threat main event.
Well, it's 41 this year. Last
I
year there
know.
was no triple threat.
I know.
But a big baby face did win,
Yep.
and that's a pattern that's come out of the Big Ten ones. So you heard it here, folks. WrestleMania main event predictions. We'll have plenty of time to change our minds, but that's the
Yep.
big bold. The road to WrestleMania is starting this Saturday at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. The road to WrestleMania starts this Saturday. Big predictions from the KTE Wrestling Podcast. Stick with us. We'll have plenty of Royal Rumble coverage this weekend. We'll be with you with By the Numbers and some live video footage. And then join Konner and I next week as we'll be talking all things Rumble in the recap and plans for the future. Until next time, thank you for joining us. This has been the KTE Wrestling Podcast.